Well, today we're going to be talking about VMware Private AI. We're going to be talking about the significance of AI and generative AI and the associated challenges that come with that. And there are some challenges there that we're sort of addressing. We're going to be learning about some of the latest announcements from the VMware Private AI Foundation with NVIDIA and discovering some additional VMware Private AI partnerships, talking about what we're doing with Intel and IBM. So a lot of good content to cover today. So with that, I'm actually going to step out and let you guys take over because you've got a lot to share today. So we want to definitely make the most use of your time.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anders. Jake, you want to take it away?
Absolutely. So we're going to walk through, and as Anders talked about, we're going to talk about the importance, what the challenges that we see that our customers are talking to us about. We'll share some of the feedback that we're getting from our customers. And then Shobhit's going to go in and provide you a solution of an overview of the solution we just announced last week at GTC that Anders was representing, talk about some of the key features and what the enablement we're doing there for our customers are, dig into the use cases a little bit, and then share some additional resources and touch on some of those other things that we mentioned. So it's important to understand where we begin and how VMware got here and the partnerships that we're driving in this space. On the left is predictive AI. And this, years ago, this started with a couple data scientists or really knowledgeable deep data scientists using some predictive analytics to create a specialized AI model. That is essentially showing a model, a picture of a cat, and the AI being able to say, that is a picture of a cat. Where generative AI has come into the landscape is using some of those same toolings that the data scientists have been using for years, but being able to produce and generate the picture of the cat for you. Once the API became available, and we saw this with the explosion of Chat GTP, is where the boom in generative AI just exploded. And it opened up all these use cases and verticals where customers are saying, how can I use generative AI internally for my own customers as well as my external customers? And it's really about the maturation process of the large language model. So Shobhit's going to talk about the choice and the flexibility, but now the large language models has allowed anybody within DevOps or central IT to work with generative AI, whereas before for predictive AI, you really needed the skill set and tooling of a data scientist. So because of that wave, we're seeing a completely new progression of the way applications are delivered. So when we used to go in and talk to customers, it was about, do you think this is going to have an impact to your environment? Now, today, customers are saying, I know it's going to have an impact. I just don't know at what time. How quickly can I adapt to this massive adoption happening in the market? And what is the level of business impact that it's going to be? And we see that really at the application level. So where cloud became so prevalent and the way in which you produce web-based applications, it compounded with mobile applications and being able to produce those and get those in front of your customer on a mobile device. We believe that AI is going to be 10-fold, 20-fold, probably 40-fold of AI producing applications without having to use the traditional manpower and resources of the way that applications have been produced to line of business owners before. So when you talk about the maturation of the large language model and the business impact we just alluded to, we get to this massive economic value within the market. McKinsey believes this is going to be $4.4 trillion. And as we allude to on the left, it's happening across every single vertical and industry, and oftentimes multiple streams of use cases within each one of these industries. But they're also presented this, people started to raise questions and said, hey, if I'm using these large language models, how do I make this prevalent for my business? How do I use my internal intellectual property that my business has generated for years, as well as that data that I've been historically holding on to forever that I wanted to leverage at some point in time, and make sure I'm restricting that access in terms of who has access, who has control. And Shobhit's going to talk a little bit more on this later, but how do I make those large language models proprietary to my business? And that really created private AI. This is not a term that VMware or NVIDIA coined. It actually comes from a research article in 2017 but it's having an architectural based approach that factors in all the business gains that businesses have learned from internally as well as their line of businesses partners to really drive some of these use cases. But being top of mind is that compliance and privacy that is historically very difficult to go wrap around a business when it expands beyond central IT's control. So that's where we go in and say these are the challenges that we are addressing with our solution that Shobhit's going to get to here in a few moments. Fundamentally, VMware's culture is a culture of choice that we deliver to our customers, and we're doing that in a variety of ways. But below the platform, we provide optionality as well as above the platform. We're not here to compete with the ISVs and the public cloud and the hyperscalers in what the services are around generative AI that we are offering, or that they are offering. Rather, we are giving our customers the choice to go do that. But when you present choice, you open up security flaws. So being able to do this programmatically from central IT, from our shared services model, where we're delivering that optionality, but bringing in our compliance and our security policies within those constructs, is something that customers are constantly faced a challenge with, is making sure this doesn't go beyond my span and control and ultimately my visibility. When we talk about performance, everybody always asks, what is the performance when you virtualize something versus bare metal versus cloud? We have a lot of industry data that we can send, and we're going to be releasing as we get closer to our general availability around what these performance metrics are. But we've been doing this for decades, and we know that when you virtualize bare metal, we have the same level, if not better performance for those lines of businesses utilizing the AI workloads. But when you get into cost and when you virtualize and fractionalize an environment, you are inherently putting the cost back into your own pocket as a customer, rather than an over provision model where maybe someone is overutilizing resources, or you've overspent and they're underutilizing resources. So these are the key challenges that our enterprise customers are talking about, is how do I balance all these things with having a privacy focus top of mind. So we've landed on this solution that Shobhit's going to get into here next. It's VMware Private AI Foundation with NVIDIA. And we do things like accelerating how we deliver the large language models to our customers and to their internal customers. Shobhit's going to get into more how we simplify and how we enable the security and the compliances that we talked about. But there are two fundamental drivers. Our customers, time and time again, tell us, I don't want to have separate silos or buckets or domains for my AI workloads versus my non-AI workloads. I want to have a single homogeneous experience, and I've done that for now 2 decades with VMware, bring those exact same constructs into my environment. And when you fractionalize not only the GPU or virtualize the GPU as well as the system, you are able to give better visibility, awareness, and overall orchestration and how you deliver those to the line of businesses that drives that accelerated performance and delivery and putting the dollars back into our customers' pockets rather than someone else retaining the efficiencies that are provided in a public cloud. So with that, Shobhit, I'm going to pause and pass this over to you and let you go through the vision of the solution.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jake. Great explanation, kind of the overview of the product itself and some of the challenges that we're working there from VMware Private AI standpoint. Let me share my screen real quick. I think I need to get upgraded to organizer panelist something because I'm not able to share for some reason. Okay, thank you. That helps. Okay, let me know when you can see this. I'm going to put it on full screen mode.
There you go. You're good, Shobhit.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. So, like Jake was explaining, right, there is some really key tough challenges that enterprises are facing. They're very excited about the potential of Gen AI. However, there's a lot of challenges that they feel that they need to continue overcoming. So while they're forging forward, they want us to, experts like ourselves, NVIDIA, and a couple of the other partners we'll share in the end to help solve these challenges. So at GDC, we made this very very exciting announcement for the initial availability of VMware Private AI Foundation with NVIDIA. This product is our joint platform with NVIDIA, and it's initially available. What initially available means is we're accepting customers right now to come in, sign up for this product. I will share, I'll share like a form that customers can just usually, scan off their phone and put in their information, and then somebody from our team will contact them. But it is basically at this point a request only. That's kind of what initial availability means. Once we'll wet you out to make sure that you can actually satisfy some of those requirements. But from the standpoint of when we go generally available, that's when basically these gates go away. We accept whoever comes our way. So with that, quick background there for the fact that we're initially available. So this is our platform. So if you look at, like just explain, it's a joint GenAI platform in NVIDIA. It's initially available. We made this very exciting announcement last Monday, right after Jensen's keynote. And then if you notice here, let's look at this top to bottom, right? NVIDIA provides the GenAI models for as models for yourself, for customers to be able to pick some of these large language models, whether it's foundation models, NVIDIA fine-tuned models, and then they give us third so access to third party as well as community models, like places from Hugging Face, etc. And these large language models can now be fine-tuned using NVIDIA's phenomenal NVIDIA enterprise software. Those 4 or 5 capabilities are the most important ones, but as this platform is comprised of NVIDIA enterprise as well as VMware Cloud Foundation. And so when a customer gets this platform, you basically get VMware Cloud Foundation and NVIDIA enterprise bundled in. From NVIDIA's perspective on the top, if you look at it, NVIDIA NIM. This was the one that Jensen talked at, almost 15, 20 minutes, if I remember correctly, in the keynote. It is a bundled piece of, lots of microservices built in. It's built on, Triton, Triton InfoService, PyTorch, etc. And then you get models also bundled together. So you get this microservices bundle, which gets you to a deployment much faster. That's the NVIDIA name that he was very excited about, and he explained a lot. I want to call out here something very exciting. At 1 p.m. is when he made that announcement, and very quickly at 3 p.m. we made this platform announcement. So NVIDIA NIM was we've had this development going with NVIDIA for a long time. So we actually launched right with GTC with the announcement. So very exciting piece there. NVIDIA Nemo Retriever is another functionality which kind of helps brings together the information faster from your RAG database, etc. And then drag LLM operator, GPU operator, they help to get the deployments for the AI models faster. Now we'll talk a little bit more later on as well. But key proportion there is those 4 capabilities at the top are the most important ones. NVIDIA Enterprise gets bundled in, and in the middle layer, the green layer, you get those four key functionalities from VMware, which we call the VMware Private AI Foundation add-on on top of VCF. So VCF forms the VMware Cloud Foundation forms the infrastructure layer. NVIDIA Enterprise forms the layer of provides AI software, AI models all bundled in. So by buying this platform, you're able to get infrastructure as well as the AI models all bundled in together as one platform. So that's the most important piece to remember. Then all the major OEMs, Dell Technologies, HPE, Lenovo, etc., they're all parts. They all support this platform. And so this is a very, very exciting announcement we made last week. Now let's start going into a little bit of these details around here. The key value provided by VMware Private AI Foundation with NVIDIA. The key value here is you are able to pick the LLM of the supported LLM of your choice in the platform. NVIDIA gives access to a lot of those. You fine tune that with your enterprise domain specific data. and now you get private and secure model for private and secure models, which are specific to for the enterprises, to private and secure, and it's specific to the enterprise. So that fine tuning customization is where we do a lot, where this model provides, this platform provides all the strength. Now, the other piece to note is from this private and secure large language model or Gen AI model can now be deployed and all over the enterprise for for doing inferencing and different kind of workloads, different kind of outputs. So that's the most important thing. Private and you pick the large language supported large language model of choice, and then fine tune and customize with the domain specific data to come up with these large language models. I'm hearing some background noise. If you don't mind, just mute yourself. Uh, so with that, let's move to the next one. What is the key value of VMware Cloud Foundation? A traditional AI environment, a traditional any environment for that matter, not just an AI environment. If you look on the left hand side, the purple portion, it's a whole bunch of these compute, networking, storage, packaging of these deployments, etc. Storage, security, monitoring. Every piece has to be done individually. It's complex, and it can take minutes, sometimes days, right, to put it together, depending on the size of the environment and the complexity involved, right? And then when you want to do update, uh, you have to restart that process all over again, right? As an ex MSP or a CSP, as we tend to call it here in VMware land, employee, I've seen that in action where anytime there's an update or an upgrade that needs to be made, you have to go from ground zero and go through sometimes hours and days to go through that process. And if you look on the right hand side, what VMware Cloud Foundation provides is, networking, compute, storage, security, everything that you need in a data center, all bundled in. And on top of it, you get this, orchestration, planning layer, monitoring layer, which gives you the ability to deploy, upgrade, update very, very fast. So that's the key thing that VMware Cloud Foundation is really good at. You get this very scalable platform, and you're able to deploy really quickly. Now, let's talk about what Gen AI means, right? From a Gen AI perspective, where does VCF or VMware Cloud Foundation come in? At the end of the day, Gen AI is just another workload. What do workloads need? They need the ability to start small, the ability to scale quickly. Workloads need to be able to be monitored, right? You need regular monitoring. You need the ability to handle operational updates. You need dashboards, consoles to be able to look at what's going on inside your infrastructure. Um, or that specific workload. You need to be able to plan, right, as this workload's going to get bigger, or there's needs to be more deployment of host clusters, etc. All of that planning needs to be done. It's a workload at the end of the day, and this is where VMware Cloud Foundation really, really shines, right? So the last slide was about deployment and the speed of deployment. But when you start thinking about the workload itself, right, it requires all of these different capabilities. So that's where VMware Cloud Foundation is phenomenal. It scales quickly. It gives you a lot of consoles, right, to be able to monitor workloads. If there's customization that needs to be done, guess what? There's ability to put together custom dashboards as well. And I know IT admins particularly love that, right? They don't want to look at everything. They want to look at specific things. So all those capabilities could come in as well. Now I want to do updates, upgrades, all of that stuff. Then you get what you have dashboards too. You can look at different places that's going on to be able to monitor that as well. So it's a phenomenal platform. So that's why we're very excited about this. VMware Cloud Foundation with NVIDIA and the value that VCF brings to this platform. Now, just like VCF, NVIDIA Enterprise forms a big part, or the most, the AI layer of this on the top. And if you look through the different pieces, right, the ability to do on the left hand side, let's start from left to right, accelerated computing, right? the fact that you need to do Gen AI models, you need to start putting together all the different pieces that come as part of the, pulling together Gen AI models, all of those kind of come together for you, right, as part of this platform. Uh, there is the ML performance on here is also really great, right? Because NVIDIA Enterprise really set up for giving you the best performance. So there's that big performance benefit you get from guess what? Because NVIDIA Enterprise has been developed and perfected out over the last several years. Security, stability, management support, that's a big part of NVIDIA Enterprise, right? If you need to do patching, you need to do upgrades, the end-to-end manageability, etc. That's a big part of what NVIDIA Enterprise gives. But once you go get the enterprise level support for when you buy the NVIDIA Enterprise license, then that comes as part of it, right? Um, there's literally can be hundreds of pieces of software sometimes that large enterprise deploy, and when you do get NVIDIA Enterprise, you get all of that stuff all bundled in, including the support and patching. That's the most important thing to know. And then obviously, cloud native, certified to run everywhere. That's part of the NVIDIA Enterprise story as well. Now, VMware Cloud Foundation with NVIDIA, right? Privacy, security, compliance of your AI models. That's the promise, most important promise of this platform, right? You get this multi-layered, built-in, integrated security and management. And if you look at the right-hand side top, right, VCF has a whole bunch of these functionalities integrated and built in, like secure boot, virtual TPM, trust authority, vSphere trust authority, etc. So when you get VCF, you get the ability to have these private and secure models. You have this ability to have microsegmentation through some of the components like NSX, etc. Enterprise grade security with an enterprise NVIDIA Enterprise. We talked a little bit about the patching, etc. just in the last slide. And then finally, identity access management, all the modern, some of the modern identity, the third-party identity providers are all supported. So that's why it's a privacy and compliance first and security first promise that we said with VMware Private AI last year when we launched it, and that's central to this platform. So you'll see that theme across the board for us. There's a very interesting slide, right? I got a very interesting download on this from last week from NVIDIA directly. If you look at the very top, right, PyTorch, and this slide doesn't share the number. I actually got a more detailed information last week. When you leverage PyTorch, for example, all of these different dots, I promise you, they're not stars. These are third-party pieces of softwares which have dependencies on PyTorch. So let's say, for example, there is a security risk that's identified, and those get identified all the time. On PyTorch, for example, the example that NVIDIA shared last week was 586 third-party pieces of software are dependent on PyTorch. So if there's a gap or a security risk that gets found out, all of a sudden, guess what? 586 pieces of software can get affected by it. So when you work with NVIDIA, right? When you buy the NVIDIA Enterprise license, right? Then you get support for all of those fixes, right? NVIDIA has regular software support, and they push out these updates, etc. So your entire Gen AI platform gets it by itself, right? So that's the key, most important thing here to remember, right? Gen AI is hard. The security risks are bringing in a whole bunch of other things as well, right? So to speak with it. And so when you work with us, and you work with as part of this platform, then you get the ability to get all these security capabilities, etc., automatically handled because of NVIDIA's release schedule, so to speak. Simplify Gen AI deployments and optimize costs. Again, Gen AI can be very hard for customers, right? Customers are looking for us, the expert enterprises like ourselves and NVIDIA, to simplify these deployments. And when you look at what we've prepared these very interesting functionalities, like first of all, starting with RAG, right? Retrieval augmented generation. That's a very new thing that started up in this industry. Retrieval augmented generation helps you not having to keep retraining your model. You can update this database with the most current new documents. And then all the LLM does is it's whenever there's a query that's put in, it goes and pulls information from that, database. And that gives you the workflow for quicker and better and more improved answer. That's what RAG's all about. So NVIDIA's RAG NVIDIA provides us RAG capability to give you a RAG database on their side, to give the ability to work through from their software perspective and look at the RAG as well as the base large language model. From our side, from VMware, we give the ability for these vector databases that connect back to the GenAI, the large language model. So when you when somebody puts in a query, then it goes into this database and says, "Hey, can I look at the most updated information?" And NVIDIA's RAG capability enables that, right? Our vector database gives you the infrastructure piece of it. NVIDIA's software capabilities enables the ability to go get that query properly. So that's the thing that we built in as part of this platform. Deep learning VM templates. These some of the when you're setting up a generative AI model or a large language model, a deployment for an AI deployments, you need to do sometimes piece by piece a lot of setups. And if you think about like a cluster, for example, where you may have 50, 60, 60, 70 hosts, hundreds of VMs sometimes, if it's a very complex Gen AI deployment, the VM consistency issues and the time involved can be very huge for admins. So admins, gave us lots of feedback when we were first kind of putting together this platform or engineering this platform last year, that they want to get the ability to have consistent VMs, right? The ability to quickly deploy. So the VMs with a whole bunch of software frameworks and libraries already built into that. So they pick up this and do a little bit configuration and spin up a VM, right? We're more about making things easy for our admins, and that's what deep learning VM templates do really well. AI deployment guide. Um, this is a functionality that we put inside VCF console, and step by step, the entire capability of how to do a Gen AI deployment is what AI deployment gives. It gives you links and things like that. So going step by step becomes very easy. Catalog setup wizard is a really cool capability that we've set up. It basically gives the ability to do very complex projects. Like if you're doing very very complex AI projects, then catalog setup wizard gives you the ability to just spin up catalog items, right? So the admin, what they will do is they'll pull together very complex projects, and then make it available as a catalog item. So the data scientist can just pick up that catalog item and very quickly deploy, versus having to work through a whole bunch of infrastructure items as well. So it's a really cool function. I will show the console here in a second. I think we talked a little bit about RAG already, so I'm going to skip this slide actually. And improve quality of outputs with RAG. So this is talked about a little bit about this. It's a vector database, PG vector on top of PostgreSQL. That's the capability that we use. PG vector is a extension on top of PostgreSQL, and so that uses that's how we pull together vector database capability. Deep learning VM templates is a quick snapshot, but it's just basically the fact that we give ability to pull up these complex, projects and just make it available as a template, so you can quickly deploy it against hundreds of hosts, right? Here's a quick snapshot, right? It's just, if you look at it, it's just like spinning up just a regular VM. This is the catalog setup wizard, and here you basically, what you do is you take these complex projects, right? You configure catalog items. If you look over here right inside, what the console here is showing is you're you're going through step by step, right? And pulling together, complex projects, putting together, let's say, for example, this VM, and this that has a GPU attached with it, and you basically curate and offer these optimized catalog objects. Should be just one second. Yeah, there you go. And you basically pull together this complex projects into one catalog item. You make that available to your admins, maybe the second level admin, the specialist admin, or data scientist as this complex catalog item that they can now quickly pull and deploy, right? So that's the it's hard to do some of these, and we're making it very easy to be able to easily replicate those, right? So if there's things even much more complex than, for example, just a deep learning VM template that you need, complex projects. So for example, you want to deploy software, you want to deploy ngc catalog items, and stuff on top of the deep learning VMs, which is very complex. That's what this catalog setup wizard enables. Simplified deployment with a guided journey, like I was saying, like there's step-by-step journey that we provide here for customers, links for documentation, etc. So the key thing I want you must be hearing here, right, is through all of these capabilities, simplification and making deployments fast is the most important thing here, right? Because admin time is valuable, admin time is money, right? Admin has a lot of stuff to go do, and that's what we're doing with all of these capabilities. Accelerate performance regardless of the selected LLM. I know my friend Jake here talked about this a little bit, but really what we have is the LLMs that NVIDIA supports, regardless of that LLM, through capabilities, things that are built inside NVIDIA NIM and VCF, we give you the ability to get great performance. We're really excited about the GPU monitoring capability that we recently launched. It's part of VCF. And this capability gives you the ability to monitor GPU usage across clusters and hosts, right? Just like our admins are very used to monitoring CPU usage, memory usage, etc. Now you have GPU capability as well. And this is very important these days because, as we know, GPUs are expensive. They can, the cost of deployment can be very huge if you're using like a lot of GPUs. So the ability to now monitor at a cluster level, like for example, what is going on for the GPU, that's what this dashboard is showing on the right hand side. Now you can start optimizing your usage for GPUs, saying, hey, this particular GPU seems to be overloaded with a workload, another workload has less, right? So you kind of work with moving this workload here, spin up a new workload on the GPU that's underutilized, right? Because that's central to saving cost. Nemo Retriever, this is a functionality which basically helps you pull the information from a RAG database and then give that information back to the LLM, so the LLM can now do better and better enablement for RAG. Right? So there's a little bit more detail here. Really like this diagram actually. Inference microservers, this is NIMS, the stuff that, Jensen talked a lot about it. It's basically, if you look at the left-hand side, the top 2-3 lines, there's a lot of text here, but the number one most important thing to remember, it's pre-built containers and help charts, tested and validated across infrastructure. Industry standard APIs, domain-specific codes, inference engines, etc. They are all built inside these NIMS. And the way we see and the way we're going to see this partnership go is it's going to be industry vertical specific NIMS that NVIDIA is going to release, right? And then we'll make it available part of the platform, right? So if there's industry specific, because that's really the future, right? Is one is a general platform. It needs to be able to do industry specific, application specific usages. That's what NIM will do, right? From at an AI level, right? And we will help that enable that through our platform. NIMS is supported, right? And NIMS was the one that Jensen talked a lot about. So it's very cool to see that the thing that got a lot of attention last week at his keynote, we had that enabled in our platform literally 2 hours later, right? This is the level of development, and this is the level of code engineering efforts that we've developed together. Just basically the message on this slide is wide choice of LLMs, whether it's NVIDIA proprietary and any open source like Llama 2, etc., or Hugging Face. We make all of those available to our platform, and all of those are supported. Common use cases addressed, right? Whether it's code generation is a very interesting use case, right? At the end of the day, what does this platform get for customers, right? The ability to do code generation is something that's grabbing a lot of attention, right? Because for developers, we're getting a feedback that at this point the work that the developers are doing is dramatically changing because of code generation that these Gen AIs are able to do. And they're able to put in requests to spin up a whole bunch of code, and then just go tailor that code, right? Which is very interesting from that standpoint. Contact center resolution from a contact center's perspective, um, we have we've received a lot of feedback that there's opportunities from a contact center perspective to improve the capabilities that our service agents, etc., are able to provide to customers, right? And then as an ex contact center manager, I can talk to you at length about the fact that a lot of the times when we call into contact centers, we don't get the capabilities of, or the contact center agents are struggling to provide answers, not because they don't want to, it's because documentation, policies, procedures can be very complex, right? And that's where, GenAI can do a phenomenal model, right? Phenomenal kind of improvement where if there's a private secure model, all data is available, they can get answers very quickly to different policy questions, right? IT operations, advanced information retrieval. IT wants the ability to be able to automate, a whole bunch of, capabilities that they're doing manually right now. Um, and similarly, advanced information retrieval is basically that's the most important thing, right? Is you Gen AI has the ability to give you very complex queries through a lot of data sets, etc., very quickly. That's the best, big, interesting thing about Gen AI, right? And so that's what we're enabling through this platform. With that, I think I would love for a quick poll question before we move on.
Alrighty, I got you here. And are you deploying AI workloads or using generative AI today? And go ahead and hop in. We'll leave this poll active for about a minute here.
Very interesting. I'm loving how to see how the answers are changing.
Isn't this fun? All right. We're at about 35% voted. We want to get a couple more here. We're holding tight. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's share these results here. So yeah, looks like we've got about a pretty good spread. Shobhit, can you see the responses?
Yeah, I can. It's a very interesting, right? So about 25 or so responses, 26% people said they already have Gen AI deployed today, which is higher than what I would anticipated. But that's the speed of this business, right? Is last year when we started on this journey, this number was obviously in the 2 to 5%, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the last year itself, this number has jumped dramatically, which is very cool to see and very interesting to see as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if there's any, yeah, I'm trying to see,
Looks
yeah,
like we've
and
got
then there's, yeah,
three
not oh, sorry, go
planning to
ahead.
deploy. I was going to say, it looks like we've got 3 planning to deploy within the year, which,
Yeah,
for an audience of
very
this
good.
size is a good size number.
Yeah. So there is 11% people that are saying not yet, but planning. 26 say they've already deployed. That's 37. So almost a third, give or take, have already deployed or um, or are planning within this year. So that's really
Mm-hmm.
cool to see.
Cool.
Really, really cool to see. Wonderful. Thank you, Anders, for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Let's take a let's go on, and we'll probably take another break in a little bit and get another poll question. I'd love to kind of hear a little bit more from the audience. Um, all right, so summary, right? Unlock Gen AI, unleash productivity. That's the big promise, right? Is Gen AI is hard. Through all of these phenomenal capabilities, we want to make this easy for customers. We want to give you the ability to do private and secure models, right? That's the most important promise that we have for this platform. Private and secure models, we want to make Gen AI easy for you, unlock it, and really unleash all the productivity inside enterprises, right? As we all know, as employees of corporate companies or medium enterprises, there's so much redundant work we end up doing sometimes. And by deploying these Gen AI models, we get the ability to basically unlock that productivity, reduce that um, that redundant work, and just open up open up doors, right? Open up a lot of doors for uh, unleashing productivity and innovation really in the enterprise, right? That's what we're doing here. Now, here's a couple of resources. VMware AI and ML page. This is our page in which you can read about VMware and what VMware is doing from an AI ML perspective. Our partnerships are there. We keep that page very well updated, so you can read a little bit a lot about our direction and what we're doing in this space. VMware Private AI Foundation with India launch blog. This is the blog that we released last week, so you can kind of read about all of these functionalities in more detail. Initial availability access request form. I talked a little bit about this. We are giving the ability for you to apply, right, to become part of our program. You scan this barcode or use the link. We'll share the presentation as well, where you can feel free to scan it right now. We only ask for couple of pieces of information: name, email address, and your company, and that's really it. Just throw it in there, submit your name, and then somebody from VMware will contact you for next steps on deployments, etc., and kind of discussion about vetting you out to make sure it's a good fit. Right now, I want to give you a very quick snapshot of the other two partnerships. We have VMware Friday with Intel as well. This is a non-GPU based solution at the moment. At the moment it's a CPU only solution. Intel Max Series GPU will be supported later on this year as well. But it's a cool thing to kind of remember that for smaller size workloads, smaller size large language models for traditional AI, predictive AI, etc., you have this ability as well. Same kind of way to think about it. You have VMware Cloud Foundation, which gives you all of these cool capabilities and a phenomenal infrastructure layer. And then Intel's AI software suite over here gives the ability to generate the AI models, etc., just like NVIDIA Enterprise did, right? So that's the way to kind of think about this. The other partnership we also have is VMware Private AI with IBM. Same VCF, Red Hat OpenShift, and watsonx is the AI software on layer to give you that ability as well if you want to use the IBM capability as well. But our most advanced at this point, and the one that we have the maximum potential, as well as a very phenomenal backend from our side, etc. This is the most strongest one at this point, is NVIDIA. That's why I'm taking you back to that same resources slide we had earlier. Definitely, please submit your name through this if you're interested in participating in our initial availability program. And I think that's really it. Thank you. Thanks to Jake as well, and Anders and the rest of the team as well. Open it up for
Alrighty.
questions, Anders.
Yeah, we've actually got some good questions going. And I know we've touched a lot on the initial availability opt-in. So there was a question. All of these questions kind of flirt with that. And then sort of the first one is this currently private AI currently a SKU?
Great question, right?
Mm-hmm,
So, uh, private AI is an architectural approach, right? It
mm-hmm,
is VMware's way to do to give you private and secure models, right? The ability to give you private and secure Gen AI models. So VMware Private AI is an architectural, very heavily engineered approach. VMware Private AI Foundation with NVIDIA is the one that went initially available last week. So I would say, not going to almost to the SKU level, but that is the one that we have a very strong go-to-market motion with, and Jake leads that for us.
Mhm,
So Private AI Foundation is an architectural engineered approach. Private AI Foundation with NVIDIA, that's the product that went
mhm,
initially available. That's the one you want to go for.
mhm. And that covers kind of our second question too, which is VMware Private AI Foundation with NVIDIA available today for buying? So yes, so we have the answer to that there. Um,
Yes.
this this is a good one. Any chance there'd be an opportunity for an independent security researcher slash analyst to gain community access, for an instance of VMware's AI offering?
So I don't think we have a pilot program at this point. This thing
Hmm.
available for like analysts, etc., for research. But saying that, we'll absolutely take the feedback back and put it into consideration.
Hmm. Hmm. And there's a lot of requests actually to get a little bit more of a double click on the private AI with Intel and IBM. I know we sort of glossed over that. Well, didn't gloss over it. Didn't really get into a deep conversation about that. Uh, any chance we can bring you guys back and get a little deeper on that with the time available? I know we're sort of trying to boil the ocean here with everything that's been going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to kind of engage further on that as well.
Okay, good. And my apologies to everyone who wanted to hear a little bit more about that. We got a lot going, but we will definitely get the guys back to talk some more about that. Any plans to support GPUs from other vendors besides NVIDIA in the future, like Intel or others?
For Intel, we have plans in place at this point for
Hmm.
Intel Max Series GPU later on this year.
Hmm. Okay. And then question about functionality. Does it require an internet connection, or can you download new updated model to install the NIM?
Jake, do you know by chance about?
Yeah, we answered that one. You'll be able to download the NIM. So you'll be able to
Okay,
download the NIM and run it on-prem. Yeah, that's the power of the solution with VMware Private AI Foundation with NVIDIA.
got it. Got
Yes,
it.
great point. First time after you download it, you can put it inside your data center. Actually, great point. Now I remember the conversation as well on this within NVIDIA directly. You put it inside your data center, so you're just basically pulling it from there at that point.
All righty. Well, I think that just about covers our questions. Anything else from you, gentlemen, before I finish off with a couple of reminders?
Product in private AI Foundation with NVIDIA is initially available. Most important, engage. Let me
Hmm.
take you back to, sorry for all the motion sickness probably basically giving people, but I want to take you back to the most important slide. This
Hmm.
is the slide. You have the barcode. Please scan it. Scan the barcode. 3 questions, literally 1 to 2, 3 minutes. Just fill this out and engage with us.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. So just as a reminder, at the end of this session, we are going to have a questionnaire go out. These questionnaires help us to shape our content, things you'd like to see more of, things that you'd like to see us do a deeper dive on. For those of you who did register through email, a reminder on that questionnaire will go out through email. And then just as a reminder, coming up on April 3rd, our next session, Pete Fletcher is going to be back. That's going to be a LinkedIn live webinar. It's going to be directly through LinkedIn, and that's going to be on enabling a cyber resilient private cloud. So similar concepts going on. And then coming up on March 26th, I'm sorry, on April 4th, we're going to have another pre-recorded webinar with Steve Fusco on the state of SFI, current FSI, current challenges for the financial services industry. So that's going to be another pre-recorded session. Our next live webinar after that, coming up on April 11th, I'll be back with cyber recovery for VMware Cloud Foundation. So that's going to be another session on the GoToWebinar. Pre-registers are going to be available through there. So with that, I think that wraps us for the day. Gentlemen, thanks again for coming in and talking to us today, and we'll bring you back as this evolves. Definitely want to get you back on the calendar. A lot of good questions today. Thanks again to everyone in the audience for attending. We appreciate you sticking around. And like I said, be sure to take the questionnaire so we can help shape our program to better serve your needs and questions. So with
Fantastic.
that,
Thank you so much, Anders.
thanks again. Have a
Thank you,
good
Anders.
rest of the week. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Anders.